What's good, people? What's good? I know it looks a little sunny and blurry on this video, but that's cool because the weather is changing. It's supposed to be a whopping 70 plus degrees today. So, with all that going on, remember, it is Monday, and you all know what happens on Mondays, right? Your boy, I'll be with y'all later on today. I'll be back in action, 4 p.m. So whenever you get tired of the sun, whenever you had your full run of having fun in the sun today, come on inside, cool off, mellow down, kick it with me at 4 o'clock. Get your weekend recap on the sports. We also going to talk some Sixers. We're going to talk some NFL draft, NFL free agency, and March Madness is coming. March Madness is knocking at the door. You know, like I tell y'all, my favorite time of the year. So March Madness is coming. We'll talk about that later. But again, enjoy the sun while you can. And make sure you check in with me at 4 o'clock. So even if you don't go in the house at 4 and you're not ready to finish with the sun, make sure you catch me on the go because I will be live on IG and TikTok. Y'all know where, at SportsRap CEO. Talk to y'all later, 4 o'clock. Enjoy the sun. Peace. It's happening. People, what is happening? What is happening? It is your boy, SportsRap CEO, back at you once again. And I'm a few minutes early. You know, I usually come on at the top of the hour, but nonetheless, we got some things to talk about, some things to discuss. And one last topic I think I want to close out with is something I think is going to be pretty fun for all of my Philly people, especially. So I want to talk about some NFL free agency because deals are being made. You know, they can be made now. This is the legal tampering period where teams and players can agree on deals and things of that nature, just like every other league is always there. We're going to talk a little bit about the Eagles too, as far as their free agency and some of their what you may call dilemmas. But I have trust in Howie, and I feel like Howie will get some things done. So in general, I'm gonna just throw this in there early, just because it's in the general comments. It was one of the ones I saw early. You know, the Eagles have re-signed Jordan Davis to an extension, a 3-year extension, mind you, for $78 million. And that is a great signing because you're keeping that young D-line intact. There also have been, I've seen rumors this morning, and people kind of take it to the extreme when they see stuff and don't fully read everything or don't fully pay attention or don't listen to everything that was said. And I was at work earlier and there's a lot of people talking, they might be talking about trading Jalen Carter. And they're not talking about trading Jalen Carter. With everything going on now, it's NFL free agency. You're going to hear rumors. You're going to hear a lot of chatter. The issue with that is, or the thing with that is, they put out that teams have been calling about Jalen Carter. Like, people go to the extreme when they hear stuff, and this is why I'm here for you all. You have to kind of understand or be open to understanding what goes on the business side of sports as well. So in this free agency period, right? We can go online, any one of us, me, you, whoever, can go online and get a list of the free agents. They do it every year. There is a thing, it's called, they do lists all the time. Top whatever free agents, right? So yeah, they do the top 100 free agents or whatever, things of that nature. They do it all the time, right? So when they do that, people kind of go to the extreme and they think about it in a way that, this is going to happen right away. Like, no, it doesn't mean, just because you hear it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But anyway, you can find out who the free agents are. Just like every NFL team knows who their free agents are, due to contracts and stuff like that. And then there's the league stuff where they know who free agents are from other teams. So this is when they begin. This is how they make trades and things of that nature. They know who people are available. Like, you think that people don't talk only. You think a lot of people have the assumption that teams or GMs only talk when it's this time of year, trades, free agency periods, and off season and things of that nature. These dudes talk all the time. Why do you think trades happen when they happen? Sometimes it doesn't wait until the actual trade period begins and then stretch it out to the trade deadline. Doesn't always work that way. Like I said, you have a legal tampering period, which is going on now for the NFL for the next 2 days, right? You heard a lot of deals. If you, like me, if you have your phone, my phone has been chiming like all day. I had to put it on silent. I mean, I was in the training anyway too, but I had to put it on silent. And every time I checked it, I had at least 4 or 5 ESPN updates of news, of trades, and possible free agent signings and possible agreements on deals and things of that nature. So again, people, take a breath, be easy about this stuff. All right, don't take too much into it, or don't read too much into it until you actually get a reliable source that tells you that a deal is done. All right, the Jordan Davis thing, that deal is done. That was reliable. We can go with that. 78 million, 3-year extension. I'm sorry. Right? That's what that was. 3-year extension for 78 million. What can you ask for that, right? All right. But again, people, like I said, you have to listen to the entirety of what you hear and read entirely what you see. Because you're going to miss something. You go off of emotions as a fan and you miss stuff. All right. Other news in the NFL and some free agency, as I said, we keep going. The Buffalo Bills are going to get DJ Moore in a trade from the Bears for a 26th fifth-round pick. The Jets are placing the franchise tag on running back Breece Hall. The Ravens made a trade for Max Crosby. All right, they get Max Crosby. They send to the Raiders a 26th first-round pick, which is the 14th overall this year, next month in the draft. The Lions trade David Montgomery to the Texans for a 26th fourth-round pick and a 27 seventh-round pick and offensive lineman Juice Scruggs. The Dallas Cowboys placed the franchise tag on wide receiver George Pickens. The Falcons also franchise tag tight end Kyle Pitts. And the Cardinals are set to release, they've already informed him that they are set to release quarterback Kyler Murray. Don't know what that means for the Cardinals. But, again, I'm not a Cardinals fan, so that's not my concern, really. All right. Now, moving along, people. Some more notes of reference, right? Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker has agreed to sign with the Chiefs. The Falcons have been making a strong push to sign Tua Tagovailoa. Travis Kelce is set to return to the Chiefs. Jalen Phillips, Philadelphia Eagles fans, I know you've seen it because the Eagles brass or the Eagles pages, social media circuits have posted it. And there was talk of this young gentleman being a priority on their list to bring back, but it just didn't happen. Jalen Phillips has agreed to sign with the Carolina Panthers on a 4-year, $120 million deal. Now, for me, people, I understand the business side, right? So, fan side, I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping that he could have been brought back to the fray, if you will. But I also know from doing my homework and some research that the Eagles would not have been able to pay him that much money. Right? So he was a free agent. He went and got paid, and I'm happy for him. Hope he makes some good down there in Carolina with the Panthers. The Dolphins are sending safety Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Jets for a 26th seventh-round pick, which is from the San Diego Chargers. So, got some moves there, right? And again, like I said, people, it's early in free agency. The day is only the 9th. Free agency actually officially kicks off on Wednesday, the 11th, where all these deals can become finalized and things of that nature. So again, when you see stuff about the Eagles, of course, you're going to hear more stuff about the A.J. Brown. I saw some stuff this morning. Some mainstream media are suggesting, oh, well, he might be gone in 2 days and this and that. I've also heard that the Eagles will not be looking to trade him to an NFC team, which I think is a smart move. I also feel like the Eagles will be with A.J. Brown again this year. There was a lot of talk about A.J. Brown going to the Patriots and things of that nature. The Eagles and Howie Roseman have set the bar extremely high. And there are not a lot of teams out there currently that are willing to give up the price tag that warrants that Howie wants for A.J. Brown. So it looks like there's a possibility that A.J. Brown could remain in the Eagles uniform for one more year. Right? And then you go through this whole saga from when it began at the end of the season. Right? You heard all of that, oh, they need to trade him. And then it's like, we don't think they're going to trade him. We don't know if they can. And people came up with the business side. Like I told you about the cap hit, how much that would be. Definitely know how we would not do that right now because of that cap hit. Right? And then we kept going. And then we kept going. And then we got AJ talking. And I mean, I like to take things from the gift horse. Right? AJ was on podcasts and he was on some other radio shows. And, he said things to the nature of Philadelphia is home. He wants to play with Jalen Hurts as long as he can. Things of that nature. The Eagles have also put out there, look, great players are hard to find. When you get them, you got to hold on to them for as long as you can. A.J. Brown is a great player. The Eagles don't want to trade A.J. Brown. Right? So they're listening to what people say, and they put their price tag on it, right? It's not an issue for them to not put the price tag on it, right? My bro has joined, DJ CG. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. Talk to you. Yeah, you joined in at the right time because I'm talking some Eagles talk. I don't know if you heard. I'm just going to backtrack a little bit. Jalen Phillips is going to the Carolina Panthers on a 4-year, $120 million deal. And like I said, I don't like it. A little disappointed as a fan. But I understand the payment. Like I said, the Eagles were not going to be able to pay him that much. So good for him. He goes on and he gets his money. Yeah, it was a money issue. The Eagles wouldn't be able to pay him that much. That's they wouldn't have been able to pay him that much. They're having a tough time as it is. So with that being said, I'll continue again with this A.J. Brown thing. It's been up and down all around and everything. I believe that come the start of the season, A.J. Brown will be wearing the number 11 for Midnight Green for the next season. Because I don't think that there's any team willing to give up what the asking price is. And I don't blame Howie. Like, you want to keep the guy, you put that kind of price tag on him where you make it almost impossible for somebody to pry him away from him. Good general managers do that. Howie's a really good one. Really good. So we know how that goes. So with that being said, again, losing Jalen Phillips, right? And we know how that goes. Like I just said, it was a money thing. With the Eagles salary cap and their issues and things of that nature, they weren't going to be able to pay him what he's allegedly going to get from Carolina. So there's a free agent loss. It was great for the time that he was here. I would have loved to have him back. But again, like I said, financially, it was just not foreseeable. Okay. In that, I brought up and I thought about some things, some other names on that Eagles free agent list. And I'm going to go through that list in a second. But one of the names that is on that list, linebacker Nakobe Dean. Young Nakobe Dean. I don't know how people feel about Nakobe Dean. I like Nakobe Dean. I know he had his rush with injuries. I know that, right? And it's okay because he is going to be a good linebacker in the NFL. He's going to be a good linebacker. There's no question about that. So now with this Jalen Phillips being signed and free agency or agreeing to this deal with Carolina, could that open the door for a possibility that they bring Nakobe Dean back? All right. So these are now the remaining free agents for the Eagles. I had Jalen Phillips on here on this list, but I can take him off now. I'm going to take him off for all intent purposes because he's allegedly going to sign that deal. He's agreed to it. All right. So you got Brandon Graham. Don't know if he's going to come back. I think he came back last year when he did to try and boost the morale, to try and make a change on what was going on last season. So not 100% sure if he's going to want to come back and things of that nature, but we'll see. All right. Joshua Uche, Aziz Olujari, Agbo Okoronkwo, Dallas Goddard, Grant Calcaterra, Kyle Granson, N'Kobe Dean, Reed Blankenship, Ben Vasmurin, Jahan Dotson, A.J. Dillon, Sam Howell, Matt Pryor, and Fred Johnson. All right. So we can go through this list and we can kind of speculate and guess throughout the fan base names that we could say that we would like to see come back. And again, remember what I tell you people all the time, and just if you need to, just come back to me and look at some old videos or come back and catch me live and see what I'm saying to you. You have to take into consideration the business side, the money side of things that matters. You may not understand all the numbers and how the contracts work, but when somebody says to you, like if I report to you, the Eagles are losing Jalen Phillips because of the contract he agreed to, but the amount of money that they were able to pay him, the Eagles were not going to be able to pay him that amount of money. So it's like a no-brainer. Thank you for your services. It was great to have you here. I wish you could have stayed. Wish we could have held on to you, but we understand. He's going to get to pay that. Deserving, and he got it. Unfortunately, couldn't get it from us. Right? So that's the business. So again, like I said, does that or could that open the door for a possibility of bringing N'Kobe Dean back? There has been talk about bringing back Dallas Goddard. There's also been rumors and chatter about the Eagles on former Chicago Bears linebacker Njoku. Not linebacker, tight end Njoku. All right. Now, getting back to the Jalen Phillips thing, remember, you still have your interior line intact with the young kids, the young studs, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. Right? You got one edge in Nolan Smith, which I think is pretty good. Right? You have the versatile who's going into a second year, young guy, Jahad Campbell, and then you have your linebacker, Zach Bond. You probably will be looking to get another linebacker if you can't bring the Kobe Dean back, which is okay. You might be able to find one cheaper. You also have to look at a corner because you need somebody on the opposite side of Quinyon Mitchell. You're going to need a safety as well. There's chatter about bringing Reed Blankenship back, and I would not be too upset with that, again, for the right price. Right? For the right price. I wouldn't be too upset with bringing Reed back for the right price. But again, that's the key. It's got to be the right price. Okay? But again, you have to either in the draft, and I'm sure they have some tricks up their sleeve, how he does, I'm sure, or in free agency somewhere, you have to get a corner. Right, and they've already put out there that they're looking to work on the defensive side of the ball. Right, and again with that, like I said, getting back to the AJ Brown thing, when they say they're looking to improve on the defensive side of the ball, that means they are pretty okay with what they got on offense. They know what pieces they got to fill in there, and they can fill those in. They feel like they can fill those in other ways. Again, be like me. Trust in Howard. He's proved it year after year after year. He's proved it. Again, a lot of people are still harping on the past season. I get it. It was bland. It was bad. It was disturbing. It was upsetting. It was gut-wrenching. At times, it was unbelievable. So there's a plethora of adjectives you can use for the season. But at this point, moving into free agency in a couple days, official free agency in a couple days, you've got to let it go. There's nothing we can do about it now, but work on where we are now and try to make next season better. That's what we can do. So last season, I understand how it was. Brutal as a fan, but we got to let that go. That is done. It's washed. Like I said, it's flushed. It's down the toilet in the train, whatever, disseminated. Wherever it went, it's gone. There's nothing we can do about it. But I do trust Howie Roseman, like I said. Like I'm telling you all, I trust Howie. And I think, again, like I said, it arguably could have helped us, or could have helped Howie in his maneuvering by the Carolina Panthers giving Jalen Phillips that money. And again, like I said, I'm not too upset about it. I'm a little disturbed. I'm a little disappointed. I'm not going to say disturbed. I'm a little disappointed. Like I said, I know how I feel about the play. But again, me understanding both sides, I understand why it happened. I understood why it happened. With the fact that, again, and I'm repeating it, Howie Roseman at some point put out there that the Eagles would not trade A.J. Brown to a team in the NFC. And then people immediately took it left and said, I went with my right hand because y'all looking at me, so it's y'all left. Y'all looking at me, whatever. You can understand. Anyway, he took that as, yeah, and people took it as, okay, now it's going to be the Patriots. And then I saw some early days say, oh, at the beginning of the season, A.J. Brown's going to be in uniform for one or two teams, in the Eagles or the Patriots. Patriots have already said they're not giving up the price tag that Howie wants, or that Howie's asking, that they've said that. So you can kind of take that deal off the table and look for A.J. Brown to be in midnight green again next year. Don't say I told you it was going to happen. I'm waiting to see what happens, but I believe that with like I said, with the price tag that's on it, it's probably not going to happen as far as a trade. It's probably not going to happen. I think teams will do things in a way that will help them either financially or in the long run, which is still going to be partially financially, rather than some of the deals that could be made in trades or in free agents. With the Patriots, you see, just coming off the Super Bowl, they're just coming off the Super Bowl, so we all know how that goes. You get people poaching coaches, players, this, that, and third, but the Patriots are young. So I understand why they don't want to give up that first round pick. Like if we have a young core, why not, if we can, again, it's financially sustainable for us, we bring in a rookie if we can, or some younger players, and that can help us grow this young core together. I mean, I go back to, I say, look at OKC. And OKC on the basketball side still has a ton of picks. So they're going to probably be good for a very long time unless they decide to start moving some of those picks. But that's how things play out in these professional leagues. Everything at some point circles back to financially fit for each organization. That's how it fits. And I'm busy, and you have to take that into consideration. Like I said, I understand Philly. I've been here all my life. I understand the passion. And for us in Philly, and people do sometimes say it, it's not the passion. It's the passion and it's the knowledge, because we're passionate about our sports, but it's not like we just passionate because we like to see the teams play and we like the colors, whatever. We're passionate because we know sports. But I will say, from being here as long as I've been here, and I understand it, a lot more times than not, Philly fans get caught up in their emotions a little bit too much. And things happen with our Philadelphia teams, and they go immediately to the extreme. Like the Drake song, 0 to 100 real quick, without even slowly gliding through what is going on in the business side of sports, right? So what you got to do is sometimes you got to take it easy. Like I told y'all about when I talk about people and comments that reporters make up of athletes and coaches, I said, go do your research. See everything that the athlete said. Because like I said, I've been in those rooms. There are recorders all over the place. And again, what I always tell you, I'm here for you. So I do this podcast. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to give you sports, to entertain you a little bit, and to give you sports and help you understand, as far as Philadelphia-based sports fans, help us understand why some things happen on certain teams and with certain organizations within our city. But I also tell you, like I said, you hear stuff from athletes and you hear reporters say it, go back and see the entire thing the athlete said. Again, like I said, I've been in those rooms. There are recorders everywhere. Reporters go in there. People don't even take the laptops. It used to be a time back in the day when they would take laptops and try to start writing their articles there. Now they just take recorders or their phone. And they just record it, and then they go break it down and listen to it, break it down. But when they break it down, take into consideration it's mainstream. Their job is to either get ratings on TV or to sell papers or to sell magazines or to get clicks on streams. Now, since everything is so streamed, everything is on stream, now it's time to get, now they want to get streams. I'm here for y'all. And like I said, I always try to bring y'all the backdrop of stories when I see them. All right. People ask me stuff all the time. People hear stories and see stuff. People ask me, why did this happen and this and that? And when I break it down for them a lot more times than not, they get a little bit better understanding of why things happened or why certain things happened. So again, stick with your boy. Cause I got y'all. Y'all my folks. I got y'all. Just relax a little bit sometimes, all right? That's all we got to do. Relax a little bit sometimes. Again, trust in Howie. Things are going to be okay, right? Things are going to be okay. So just relax a little bit, all right? With that being said, March Madness is coming up right around the corner. Let's see, today is the 9th. In about 6 days, we're going to have the selection show, men's and women's selection show for the 68 teams in the NCAA tournament, men's and women's. All right, I don't have the women's yet, but I do have some early seedings, and these are just the early seedings of projected seedings, 1 through 4 for each region for the men. All right, for the Midwest, Michigan, Houston, Florida, Virginia. In the East, Duke, Illinois, Kansas, and Vanderbilt. Out West, Arizona, Purdue, Gonzaga, and Michigan State. And in the South, Iowa State, UConn, Nebraska, and Texas Tech. All right. Want to give a shout out while I'm here. Shout out to my guy. I've been giving him shout outs over the last couple seasons. Good stuff, good program out there. To my guy, JC. All right. JC Clark. JC. Well, JC, I call him JC. James Clark. Assistant coach for the UCLA women's basketball team. All right. Got that program doing big things. And I know with him, and I've seen his work, been around him for a little bit, talked to him a lot, but I've been around him, seen his work. So I know their player development is on point. All right. Like they used to say, it's on fleek, but it's on point. So shout outs to him. Good luck in the tournament. I got my eyes open, so I'm watching, bro. So don't be surprised if you get a message from me at some point, whatever, but just know that I'm watching and I'm supporting. I got your back. The tournament for me is one of the best times of the year. Again, I'm starting to get a little bit disappointed with the NBA. With the WNBA and their CBA talks, you know how I feel about that. I've always felt that college basketball was a little bit better than the pros because in the pros, NBA, you're getting paid. So the team that I'm on doesn't want to pay me if I play like a little bit or if I play enough, I can hang around or I can go overseas and get paid. But basically what that means is if I go to a team and I play and they don't want to resign me, I can go somewhere else and still get paid. In college, there's a difference. There's a lot more hunger, a lot more humbling there. So I think it's more genuine. This is more of a genuine, I'm not going to say more of a genuine love for the game, but I think it's more genuine, a more genuine approach to the game because those young men are playing for something. And a lot of times they're consistently looking over their shoulders because there's somebody that wants to play. And you know how that goes. You know, the NBA sometimes talks about teams that get injuries and they say next man up. Or pros say that. In college, next man up might make you the next man up in a little bit. Okay, they might take your spot, supplant you. Now you fighting to get back to your spot. So I think for me, I like that better. It's a lot more hunger there. I also like the fact that over the past couple of years, since they've done it, they've added 4 more teams. And it used to be the 64, now they added the 68, which I think is good because they started to get to a point with the voting and the selections and all of that, where were teams that you could give a very good case that should have been in. But then there's a team that might have won their conference tournament just by chance, and now they sneak in and take that spot just because they won their conference tournament. But you have this other team, maybe in a different conference, didn't win their conference tournament, but still, overall, you look at records and you feel like they should have been in, even though they did win their conference tournament. But that's the state of the NCAA and how they vote and select teams. So I'm glad that they added 64 and that I actually give it the first 4, which is great because now you got 4 teams that we like to say were on the bubble that have a chance to get in. And I mean, again, it's still the same thing. It's a 1-game elimination, but you have that 1 game to get in. For me, I think that's also great for those 4 teams to be added in, just like some of the other teams that may sneak in because of their newfound records or where they did in their conference tournaments and things of that nature. It's one of those things where this is a moment in your life where you can tell your grandkids, and possibly your grandkids can tell their grandkids, right? Because some people go to college, become athletes, and never make the tournament. If you make it, even if you make it to that in that bottom 4 to make the 68, so it's technically the tournament. So you play a tournament game, then you can get into the tournament, get into the big dance, as we like to call it. So that's one of those things, like I said, you can tell your grandkids, and maybe possibly your grandkids can tell their kids and grandkids, right? So it's coming. I will, as always, full report once the selection show hits. Selection show, I think, is actually next Sunday. Once that hits, then next day after Sunday is Monday. That show will be fully dedicated to the March Madness preview. And I will go through the brackets and talk to you about some teams that I think might be some upsets. I'll also talk about the first 4 and move on into the tournament and get you ready for basketball starting at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and go until about 10, 11 o'clock at night until we crown the champion. All right. So hope you all enjoy the tournament as much as I do, as much as I will. Again, like I said, for me, it's one of the best times of the year, sports-wise, right? Lastly, before I close out for you all, I was out yesterday and I came across an article, and it only fits because of the magazine that I saw it in and where I'm from. If y'all catching on, y'all picking up what I'm putting down. It's Philadelphia Magazine. I'm from Philly. It's Philadelphia Magazine. And the article was the top 25 most Philly athletes. Now, mind you, some of these are Philly natives, some of them are not. But the reference is the town and the type of player that Philly has. Blue collar, gritty, stand up dudes, 10 toes down, bump and grind, rhyme, rumble if we need to. Those type of players that will give it all for the city and the colors that they wear on the front of that jersey. So I'm gonna go from 25 and go down to 1. And we'll talk a little bit about each one. And then I also added in what they added in extra. They had some outside the lines, and we'll get to that in a second. But going through the 25, before I get into the 25, I felt like the 25 was a really good list. There was just one name that I was slightly unfamiliar with, but that's not too bad, not too shabby out of 25. One is not too shabby, right? But again, like I said, when I heard the list, I thought about the players, the names, as I heard the names, and as I looked at the names, I'm like, Philly? Yes. It was like no hesitation. It was like, yes, definitely Philly. All right. So, of course, Vince Papale. We all know the story. We saw the movie and all that. So Vince Papale is at number 25. Number 24, Tyrese Maxey. And I may get some people that argue it's a little early for him. 6 years in, I beg to differ, especially over the last 2 seasons. Richie Ashburn, of course. Carly Lloyd, it's a great soccer player, of course. Randall Tex Cobb. Stevie Williams. Y'all don't know about Stevie Williams, go look him up. African-American skateboarder who went on to do big things and an original Philadelphia native. Jameer Nelson. No question. Technically lived in Chester, from Chester, but played at St. Joe's. Made his name at St. Joe's, and St. Joe's is in Philly. Sitting on that. Monet Davis. Do I need to say anything? You all know the story. Do I need to say anything? Definitely Philly. Chuck Bednarik, Philly. B Hop, another native. B Hop. Major in the boxing game, right? Yeah. Absolutely, Coach. Absolutely, bro. Monet is definitely Philly. Smarty Jones. You know, y'all don't know Smarty Jones. Triple Crown winner, the horse. Philly. Charles Barkley, of course, still loves Philly. Right? Lives out there in Arizona, but still loves Philly. Yes, bro, absolutely. The horse, Smarty Jones, was groomed and raised and trained out of Philly. Absolutely. Chase Utley. We all know Chase Utley, the playoff runs, the World Series, right? This is the one that I said had threw me off a little bit, Oral Washington. But I did a little bit of research, okay? Germantown Y, where she learned how to play tennis. Also, she was a great basketball player, but representing Philly, Germantown, right? Mike Schmidt, arguably one of, if not the best third baseman to play the game. The hot corner, Schmitty. Wilt Chamberlain, Philly native, no questions asked. Dick Allen, Phillies, come on. Old school, but Dick Allen. Bobby Clark, definitely. The Doctor, Julius Erving. Another one that is so Philly. If you disagree with me, then you are definitely not from Philly. Dawn Staley. Definitely Philly. Dawn Staley. Definitely Philly. Brian Dawkins. Put his stamp on a lot in that midnight green. Dr. J was at number 7, bro. Yeah, Dr. J was at number 7. So going back for you, bro, the top 10, I'm going to go back to where I was at. I stopped at 5, so I'm going to go from 10 to 5 again for you. At 10, it was Wilt Chamberlain. Number 9 was Dick Allen. Number 8, Bobby Clark. Number 7, Julius. Number 6, Dawn Staley. And we were at number 5, Brian Dawkins, B. Dawk, X-Man. All right. At number 4, I kind of went back and forth with this one a little bit, but after I thought about it, I just reminisced on the type of player he was on the field. John Kruk. I think he can get a vote. I don't think he should be where he is at number 4, arguably, but I think he could be on the list. Number 3, the guy who I had said after the Eagles won that first Super Bowl and he showed up to the parade in a mummer's costume, I said that immediately, right, bro, Carmichael's not on this list. So we're going to talk about this list, and I'm going to have to revisit it again. Okay. Jason Kelce, I said at that point, wrote his ticket as an official Philadelphia native. He's on the implant. He's an honorary. He's a Philadelphia native. He wore that suit like he carte blanche in Philadelphia, right? All day, Philly, from Cincy, but he's Philly all day. Number 2, Smoking Joe Frazier, another Philly native, great. Beat Ali, the greatest. Got to give him his props. Joe, number 1 at the top of the list. Some of you might guess it. Some of you might not. But once I give you the name, I know there's a plethora of you. See that? Got somebody that guessed it already. Good looking, bro. Number 1, Allen Iverson. My guy, Bubba Chuck, who epitomized Philly, if you will. So, like my bro chimed in, there's no Harold Carmichael on this list. And I'm sure once I sit down again and look at this list again and go back through what I know from Philly sports, there are probably a couple more names that I could argue could fit into this list. Like I said to you, I'm okay with John Kruk. I'm just not okay with him being at number 4 on this list. All right. Yeah, as soon as I said that, you knew, hey, I was number 1. Right. A lot of people probably thought that when they saw the article too, but I thought it would be fun to go through, so I went through it. So, also in that article, on the other side, right, on outside the lines, so they also added in coaches, just Philly characters, and other Philly icons that have made Philly sports universe what it is today. All right. We know how those Philly teams were. We talked about Chase Utley, right? Remember, Jimmy Rollins could have probably been on this list, right? I can talk Phillies for a second. That's 2, Jimmy Rollins. I can go Shane Victorino, right? There are some names, like I said, when I think about stuff, there are some names that you could argue could go on this list, right? All right. So when we talked about that Philly team, like I said, those 2 players that I just mentioned, Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley, their manager, Charlie Manuel. Right? Another one who's added in, made Philly sports universe what it is. Yeah, bro, Reggie White. There are a lot of names. Like I said, when you think about it, after you hear the list and you start thinking about stuff, you can throw names in there. It's kind of like for me when the reason I got away from answering people when they ask me who's my top 10 or what is my top 10 this or my favorite this, that, and the third. Because every time you create a list, if it's more than one of you, if it's 3 people, and you hear all 3 of those lists, as you hear those 3 lists, you yourself individually are going to start thinking about names that you possibly could have added to your list that you didn't right away. You might hear it from somebody else, or you might just think about it when you hear the rest of their list. Absolutely. Eric Lindros. Yeah, there's a lot of names you can add on here, right? So I said Charlie Manuel as in the others. Another one in the others, Eagles court judge, Seamus McCaffrey. For those of you that are tuned in that may not be from Philly, that might be outside of Philly, we did at one point have a courthouse in the basement of the actual stadium. And you asked, did people actually? Yes, people actually went to jail for misconduct and other things from the stadium. People always talked about the Manioc bike ride, right? Bike race, I'm sorry. There's that guy, if you were on social media, when we talked about Nelson Aguilar, who couldn't catch a thing. He talked about the bricks in his hands and all that stuff. Just added that in because I thought that was kind of funny. The St. Joe's Hawk, kind of like a Philly staple. The St. Joe's Hawk, the mascot for the St. Joe's University, is very famous, believe it or not. Philly basketball icon, Sonny Hill. Harry Callis, the commentator, the announcer. Yeah, Gillian Wallow, of course. Merrill Reese, Fran Dunphy, John Chaney, Herb McGee, Speedy Morris. I'm gonna take this one back. Now, bro, I don't know how you're gonna feel about this one, but I'm gonna take this one back real quick. Anybody else that's tuned in, y'all gonna love this one. 700 level Vet Stadium. I'm gonna take a pause for a second. I'm gonna take a little quiet for a second. Let y'all let that marinate. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. Yeah, I like that reaction from you, bro. I knew that would get you. That's one of those things that if you feel it, you feel it. Like they say that if you know, you know. Definitely on that if you know, you know list. Broad Street, of course. All our parades were up and down Broad Street, right? Yes, indeed. Philly Fanatic, another possibly, arguably world famous sports mascot. Another world nationally famous arena, the Palestra. Another one that is funny, and again, it's one of those if you know, you know. And I thought this was funny, so I threw it into D batteries. If you know, you know. That's all I'm going to say. If you don't know, then you're going to have to do some research and figure it out. That's all I'm going to give you. But there's also one that I liked that was not on this list also. And like I said, both of these lists, we can add some things in. One that I was disappointed that wasn't on this list. Like I said, you got iconic announcers, Harry Callis, Merrill Reese. You got Dr. J on that top list, right? In that top 25 athlete. What happens? What happened? Why is the Zinc, Dave Zinkoff, not on this list? Dave Zinkoff has his introduction of the Philadelphia Sixers is historically iconic. If you don't believe me, Google it. I'm not going to tell you everything, but Google it. That's what I don't do anyway. Google it. But Dave Zinkoff should have been on this list. Right? Now, that being said, folks, another great show in the books. Right? Another great show in the books. I thank everybody that tuned in. Instagram and TikTok. I love it. I love the support. To my bro, all the way out on the west coast of Arizona, thank you. Definitely appreciate you chiming in and taking the time to pop in. I will let you know when this goes up so you can let Mr. Kenny check in and hear this stuff. If not, I'll put the audio up on what I put it on Spotify and all that. But when I'm gonna do the video, I'll put it up on YouTube and I'll shoot you a message and let you know Mr. Kenny can go check out the video on YouTube. You can watch it again if you want and get your moment of fame that everybody know. DJ CG is down with Sports Rap Podcast. Love you, bro. To everybody else, again, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the nice sunny weather today. Got a couple more days of that, and then we get back to like normal March temperatures. So enjoy it. Enjoy today. Tomorrow and Wednesday, enjoy those days as well because they're going to be in the 70s. Then, like I said, we kind of mellow back down into March weather. But again, it's Monday. Be great on purpose. I will talk to you all week on social media and traffic. Right back live on Monday. March Madness preview. Anytime you want to get anything, any old, go to YouTube. SportsRap TV is the channel over there. You can also go to heat100radio.airtime.pro. You get some old recordings up there. This one is going to go up. The one from last week. So the last two shows are going to go up within the next couple of days, at worst by the end of the week as well. But again, remember, make sure you locked in at SportsRap CEO on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. On YouTube, SportsRap TV. Make sure you do the 3 things there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, right? Make sure you hit the thumbs up on the videos that you like, and then hit that bell so you know when new content is up. Again, Patreon, Heat 100. It's Patreon/sportsrap.com. You can check out that Patreon page. I'll be throwing shorts up there as well. What else? If you're a DJ, like I've been saying, if you're a DJ and I've been getting something, I just got to get a minute to get everything squared away in one file, one folder, and load everything up at one time. Like my bro sends me mixes. I'm sure you heard his DJ CG mixes are in there. 90s hip hop, 90s R&B, some New York City mix in there as well. Make sure you go check them out. And with that, you can get your mixes in. Shoot me a DM. All right, shoot me a DM with music in it. All right, and I can tell you how to send it to me, how you can get it played. If you are a business, right, you want to advertise, you want to come sit and talk to me, talk about your business, figure out maybe even get your own podcast on the air and talk about your business and the services that you provide or whatever, you can also DM me. For that, put ad in your DM. And again, talk to y'all real soon.